Hello, I'm Lori Sebastian. My inspiration was Starry Night by Van Gogh. I purchased the fabric at the Textile Center garage sale, and all this is just hand stitched.
I'm Pat Grady, and I am wearing my inspiration by Van Gogh, which is irises. And this was a jacket that was given to me by my friend Marsha. The pants were fabric from my friend Sophia, and then this is all needle felted. And so I used all yarns and fabrics that I had in my stash to create this three-dimensional irises that I wanted to just pop off the jacket.
I'm Suzanne O'Brien, and I'm wearing a jacket inspired by Juan Miro, and the original inspiration came from this scarf, which I'll show you in a minute. But I bought the scarf in Barcelona, and I riffed off of the Miro images on the scarf and created them on the jacket. And I have a couple of sneaky pockets. It's fully lined, and it's a fun coat. It's a swing coat. So thank you for looking. This is the original inspiration. And I'm channeling my grandmother, who taught me how to sew and loved to dress up clothes. And so this is an ode to her.
Hi, I'm Jody Schumer, and my inspiration was Paul Klee and his art, very abstract and colorful, which I like. And so at the retreat, I simply started putting together all the wools that I had. I serged around each piece and then laid them all out on the table. I hogged a whole table for the whole retreat while I pieced all this together, because you had to pick them up and carry them over to the machine and put that together and put it back in the puzzle so you could put the next one in. And then it hung on the wall in the studio for quite a while I figured it out. And it's just this lovely thing. I did insert a pocket, because you got to have a pocket somewhere. And I found a lovely old button that's I can't remember what the stuff is called. Bakelite button in my stash of buttons, of course. And made sure I figured out when I didn't want to build a buttonhole, so I made sure when I cut this part out and added it on, there was a seam right there. So we could just incorporate that in.
Roxanne Hardy. I have a hard time following rules, so I did this kind of backwards. This is 50% wool and 50% cotton, which I bought at the Weavers Guild little sale that they always have at the Textile Center. So I knit this up all last winter, and then I found a picture to match. So. Okay.
I'm Marsha Theis, and this jacket was inspired by Asian art. Ever since I've been a little girl, I have loved Asian textiles, Asian clothing, and Asian art. One of the things about Asian art is maybe on a painting they'll have a little bird over here, and there may be a little mountain here and a few leaves over here, and then you have to fill in everything else in your mind. And so that's kind of what this is. Fanciful birds and flowers and things that just sort of came out of my head, and you have to fill in what the rest is. I didn't buy one thing for this jacket. I had it all in my sewing area someplace, and as my husband says, and a lot more. So some of the stitching is done free motion on the machine. Some of the stitching is hand stitching. The silk I had dyed for another project, so the little birds are dyed silk. And the silk lining is, I also had. So that's what it is. Oh, the folded flowers are origami flowers. A good friend of mine, who many of you know, Clara Schreiber, and I were at a meeting one day, and she had 2 books with her. And she handed them to me, and she said, "Here, you take these. You'll make something out of this, and I won't." And it was a whole book on fabric origami flowers. And I started looking at it, and I just got so interested in it that I started fooling around and trying to make one. So, and this, I can't remember what this is, but they were all named. So the jacket has pockets, and it's lined, and there you go. That's it.
I'm here. Tell us. Oh, well, this is my jacket. It's inspired by Andy Warhol, loosely. Andy Warhol took one image and used different colors to demonstrate it. So this was a piece of fabric which I cut in thirds. It was beige and brown, and I dyed one section green and one section red and one section blue. So as you can see, that's what's going on here. I used covered buttons. And I made this jacket. My name is Pam Leip. Is that what you said? And I'm happy to be a member of Wearable Art Midwest.
I like that your hair matches your jacket.
One must always manage those things.
Diane Moncrief. This is my Matisse dress. It was inspired by Henri Matisse. Toward the end of his life, he was no longer able to paint, so he did cutouts. And so what I did was cut out a whole bunch of appliques and sew them on raw edge applique.
In the pots, and I've been fiddling around trying to figure out what to do with it. And I've been taking a hand stitching class through textileartist.org. Lots of inspiration, so I got busy and did some hand stitching on it.
What did you use for backing?
Some kind of broadcloth, and then the big question is how to hang it, what to finish and do. And I took it to wet paint, and they're fabulous people, and I love them there, but the framer was in a bad mood, and she's not into fiber.
And at that time I had just made a jacket, so I was really happy. It was a brown and gold jacket. It was cool. And since then, I haven't sewn anything for myself until yesterday.
Oh, how cute is that?
And very simple, just getting back into it. And Suzanne O'Brien showed me how to do bias cut on fabric. And I was going to do an interfacing, because that's what the pattern called for. I didn't have anything left over because I bought this material at the textile sale. And I had 1 yard and 5 inches, and that was it. What can I do? So I didn't even, I used the selvage on the bottom back, and then the pattern was all the way closed. I went, no, I'm going to do 4 inches with the little flaps. And my husband looked at it, and I said, what do you think of my top? He goes, oh, it looks like somebody splattered blood on you. I said, well, at least I got the middle in the middle instead of on a boob.
Because it's so loud, I wasn't going to make a dress. Then I decided to make a dress, and then the dress I thought I was going to make, there wasn't nearly enough fabric. So Pat was working on a dress, and she said, this will be perfect. What is it, the 2 square dress?
Yeah, the one that is made out of the 2 rectangles or whatever.
So I laid it
The
out.
gen dress, yeah. But then you did the top different, and that's what I want to do with mine, because the original pattern has this just as a triangle with little straps.
Triangle.
Yeah.
But I wanted wide enough to cover my bra straps, and I used elastic because this is really, really stretchy. So I didn't want it to like stretch out. So I put a wide elastic in here, and then it looked kind of crazy on me the way it was. So I put this. I made a.
Ask you how you did the waist.
Well, I was trying to figure out how to sew it in, but since it's like a big triangle that goes out this way, I was like, how will I even? So I just made this.
That's a great idea.
Not even attached.
That's awesome.
I thought it was attached.
I did too. I for sure thought it was. I thought you had just made a pocket and put elastic.
Without it just looks
Like a
Like a sack.
it's not.
Oh, it's great.
So
I love the waist or the elastic or the
Yeah.
belt or whatever you call it. Yeah, great.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah, great.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then you design your own pattern to put on the front. And then obviously I'm not totally happy with the lid. I felted it down too much. So I need to make a second lid.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can see right here where it's a little short. So
You can't stretch it?
no, I tried.
Yeah.
she already
They're dear.
But I was going to say, but what about that? Do we have to redo that top, or can you reuse that part?
That's a felted vessel, Paul. I don't know. I hadn't thought about. Oh, you know what? I could cut this and I could sew this onto another.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
That just saved you a lot of work.
Yes, because stuffing this is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that looks incredible.
thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't mess with the rest of it. I think I would just take, could you add like onto that to make this bigger? Just add some of that reddish kind of color?
Yeah, I could actually. That could be the cut it.
The edge.
Add the edge.
Add the edge to this,
Yeah.
and you don't have to redo it.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that would actually help bring
Bring
this
that color.
up, bring that color up to it.
Yep.
And it's a whole lot easier than making a new lid. That's what I would say.
That's why I show my stuff here.
We got ideas.
We are not short on ideas. You are that pattern. I think we.
might have copied that pattern.
I need to use that for what I was thinking of.
Drew it. I've got it drawn in one of my notes.
You probably do.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a
Yes,
great,
yes.
easy pattern.
And it has the exact neck that I was talking about. It looks a lot like hers.
And
Yeah.
so this is all just a bias, bias tape.
I'm glad you wore that because I happened to see something that said Michelle's dress, and I'm like, oh, I don't even remember that dress, but now I do.
So there it is.